Peace, everybody. It is Niomi. Welcome to Media Mystic on YouTube at Media Mystic 999. So, this is my second time doing this because I want to be more comfortable with you guys in sharing a little bit about myself because I basically have been made aware that don't nobody know who I is. Y'all don't know me, man. So I'm like, all right, let me talk about myself a little bit. It's gonna feel a little weird, but I had one take, so I think I feel a little bit better. So let's see how I'm gonna start this out. So again, my name is Niomi. I'm a melanated woman from New York City. I was born in Harlem, raised in the Bronx, and how else I want to say, do I want to go straight into career? So I guess, right, obviously on YouTube, I'm an oracle reader, right? I use tarot, um but I'm using my own tarot, which is a little bit different because I feel like it's channeled energy that's more based in cosmic mother energy, but it also has the balance of the masculine traditional tarot in it as well. So those are my tarot cards, but they're not yet massively produced, and I don't know how I feel about letting my babies go like that. But um, we'll see. I always have some type of ideas for stuff. But yeah, so that's what I am on YouTube. But I went to school and graduated in 2006 to be a Veterinary technician. Why did I say it like that? Veterinary technician, a licensed veterinary technician. So I've been a licensed veterinary technician in New York since 2006. And in 2015, I think it was about 2016. I always get these years confused. 2015, 2016. Um, I had become ill. I was extremely fatigued, um, just unwell. First off, I wasn't taking care of myself at this time. Um, I jumped right into my adulthood, but maybe I'll go back to my childhood a little bit. I wasn't taking care of myself. I felt like I was overworked. I was eating whatever I wanted to eat. I was skinny fat, and I wasn't sleeping well. Like I wasn't taking care of myself. I feel like I was focused more on external things and my relationships than my own well-being. And my body was warning me for some time, like, hey, I don't feel good. But then when I woke up in the morning, I would feel better. So I'd be like, oh, maybe I just need to get sleep. And this would happen continuously, day after day. I go to work, I come home, my body feel achy and tired, like if I was coming down with a cold or a flu or something. And then I wake up in the morning, it was gone. So I just thought it was nothing. Until one day, it didn't stop. Every day, I woke up with low grade fevers. And there was something that triggered it. I exerted myself physically, like I was moving heavy stuff and setting things up in the house. And the day after, is just like it just would not stop. I had fevers every day. I didn't have any energy. My heart was racing. I didn't have, I just, I could not do anything that I used to do. And Obviously going to doctors, they telling me they don't know what's wrong with me, getting all kind of tests, you know. Eventually they diagnosed me 6 months later with chronic fatigue syndrome, which was something that wasn't really understood that well. But they kind of looked at it like if it was like a pseudo sickness, like it didn't exist, it wasn't real. There was not a lot of research on it. um, so basically, they didn't have any information for me. And also at that time, I was diagnosed as pre-diabetic, and the doctors just sent me an email with the rest of my lab results, like, eat better. and exercise and have a good day. And so I was like, what? I have to exercise. So the entire time when I was chronic fatigue or this diagnosed with this, and this was in my mind, that I actually before I was diagnosed, I found out that I was pre-diabetic. So I'm thinking I'm pre-diabetic. I gotta get myself together. So I start putting on my beach body stuff because I used to do beach body coaching back in the day too. So I'm putting on all my beach body stuff. I changed my diet. I actually was one of the ones that was on keto before it became a thing. I was checking my blood glucose, my blood ketones, like I was on it. And I had lost a lot of weight, and I definitely um, felt more energized. But the thing that really was the kicker was just like, I can't live my life like this. Like, this can't be my life. So I started looking into holistic and um, Western medicine. And, first I was like, well, maybe I could get acupuncture done. But then I wind up finding out about the chakra system. So the seven major chakras: the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, the crown, right? And these all are energy systems or centers. That's what I was trying to say. That basically are directly reflecting how we interact with life in certain things. Like solar plexus is often like your willpower, your identity, right? How you say yes, how you say no. Also how you eat, your gut. So your personal power, right? So that is, how you relate to people. Are you a pushover? Are you narcissistic? Are you, you know, how are you? How you're eating? How's your digestive system, etc., etc. So it's like you could see like how the heart would affect, loving and compassion and forgiveness. So once I started learning about this, one of the books, actually the first, did I get the book first or start doing the meditation first? I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't know where that came from. So I think maybe it was the meditation first. I'm gonna say it was the book. I'm gonna say it was the book first. So it was a book. I think it's called The Chakra System by Anodea Judith. Anodea. And I bought the Audible book, and she, she's very, very well versed in chakras. Like she like the main person. If you want to learn about chakras, you go to her or you find her works, and she's awesome and very detailed. And so she was the first person that put me on, like that came into my awareness about chakra system. And then I started doing meditations. Oprah and Deepak Chopra, they had like this 21-day meditation thing where you listen to his voice and he have you, recite the sound mantras. I think we were doing sound mantras. And no, he didn't have the sound mantras. He had I think they were affirmations that first activated the chakras. Like each week you do something, like you activate them. For the 7 days, for the seven chakras, each week it was building upon the energy of the week before. And so that was kind of like my thing. And then by the time I had got into that, the season had changed. It was summertime. I was out and about in the sun. I was receiving the sun rays. I would go to the river and meditate and watch the water. And so I was back in nature. And so I healed myself. Like I healed myself. And I have a whole, like, chronic fatigue. My experience with chronic fatigue was crazy. Like, it was crazy. I realized through that process that some people, they have attachment to being unwell. And when I went to go share my story of becoming well by the tools that I have found, I was not accepted by that. So that kind of was like a foreshadowing of my healing journey in a way, that not everybody would be accepting of what I was doing. But yeah, so that was that. So then on that part of the journey, I heard in my mind that I wanted to be a life coach, and then I said a spiritual life coach because I was feeling more spiritual. I didn't grow up in church. I did not grow up in church, but my mother, I'm not going to tell her story. She grew up as Jehovah's Witness and she got married in that faith as well. But by the time that she had me and had her children with her then ex-husband, when I came into the picture with my dad, who was a musician, a tenor saxophonist, she was not in the faith anymore. So when I was born, and religion or God or anything like that came into play, it was I knew God, but I didn't have to go to church because obviously she had her own experience with spirituality that shaped her into the woman that she was when she had me. So God was there. It just was not ritualistic in my life. Yeah. Um, so also, so when I went to college, just to backtrack a little bit, that's when I started to get into religion on my own. So I think that's very important. I didn't speak about that before. So when I was in college, one of my friends that I had made in college. He told me to go to gospel choir, and so I did. And I started to go to the gospel choir, and I joined the gospel choir. And I was a part of the gospel choir for every year that I was there at the school. I was a member. I was a treasurer, the vice president, and the president. And I even had the opportunity to, for one semester, be the director of the choir. And that was dope. I was very shy about it, but I have a natural musical ear. Like I said, my dad is a tenor saxophonist. My mother, she also had a singing voice as well. So I'm innately musical. And so it was really cool, because harmonies are my favorite. So I enjoy being in gospel choir immensely. That was a highlight of me being in college. So from that, I was introduced to Christianity and started going to church there in college, and I became very religious from my own accord. Um, and obviously, as you can see now, my spirituality has developed on its own and flowered to something even beyond what I ever thought it would be, to where now I speak of the cosmos. So that in itself has been a journey. Yeah. So going back to meditating and the chakras and everything like that, um, I heard spiritual life coach, and so I started searching for spiritual life coach, and I found a school. Right, I found a school that is a spiritual development institute, and it changed my life. This school changed my life. It's taught by someone who is very well known, teacher, healer, spiritualist, author, and that program changed my life. Um, I attended the school 2 years for the personal development program, where I learned about metaphysics, universal laws, spiritual principles, effective communication, um, about the chakras, about the development, what do we say, Erickson's developmental stages, as it relates to the chakras as well. Um, what else? Inner child healing as well. It's so much that I learned at that school. That school literally it is a priceless experience. And I feel that those who are called know what the school is. I just put it like that. So I went to that school and I graduated from the personal development program, which was 2 years, which I changed my entire life for. I had quit my job. I turned my actual vehicle, my red Toyota Camry hot tamale, into a taxi, and I drove her around for 1 year as a taxi so that I could have the flexibility to be a student and to travel back and forth when I needed to travel back and forth for school and not be tied down by the schedule of work. So, yeah, so that was the 2 year program, personal development. And then I was there for additional year and a half personally for the spiritual life coaching program, but I did not finish with them. I wound up leaving the school after I did not finish with them and went to another school and became a certified life coach. Um, I also, during the time of my last bit at that school, also became a Reiki practitioner where I'm able to give Reiki to self, to people, and animals. So, Reiki basically is universal life force. Just like you breathe the life force in and out, that spirit energy that enlivens this body. This is basically my ability because I've been attuned by a teacher who has a higher degree in Reiki. I'm able to heal myself with it. And what I mean heal, it just basically means that the intelligence of life force energy, right? That, what's the word that I'm trying to use? Inspires, I guess, inspires us, right, to be alive, right, for the movement and the fluidity of this body, that I'm able to talk to you and move and to think. I'm able to transfer that energy. So it's not my energy. Reiki is never the healer's energy. But it is important for the healer to be a clear channel when they're giving Reiki. So that's why with any energy work, you want to know who your healer is. That's why I feel like I'm being called to really like put out myself on blast so that y'all know who y'all dealing with. Because I've been through a lot to get to this point. So as a Reiki healer, a Reiki practitioner, and I'm not a master Reiki healer. There are people that have higher degree of Reiki and different degrees of Reiki, but I'm attuned in Reiki 1 and 2, which means I can give Reiki to self and others and also do distant healing Reiki. So if I wanted to give you Reiki, I could send you Reiki from here to you, right? And infuse Reiki and do all kind of creative things with Reiki, right? Reiki go, Reiki flow. So Chokure. So I love Reiki. I love Reiki. I use Reiki on a day to day. I have not been practicing with people and animals. I did have an opportunity to do some Reiki healing. I had two clients, which was cool, and I did energy reading on two animals. They were kind of like my pioneers. But I did not further my journey with that because animals in itself is like, it's very interesting. I found out a lot about our animal human bond that I wasn't aware of until I was able to do that. So it was pretty cool. So I have some experience with that as well, obviously being a veterinary technician since 2006. But I was saying that it's very important to know the well being of the person that is healing you because the status of their body is basically how well they will channel the energy. So again, Reiki is not something that I'm giving you, it's something that I'm channeling for you. So in Reiki, there's something called Genki and Boiki is how I was taught how it's pronounced because Reiki is a Japanese word. Um, Reiki, but it's no Rei. Rei, it's no Rei. Reiki, Reiki. Anyway, that's my mind. Um, it's Genki is basically like good energy, Boiki is bad energy. So it's not that um your practitioner is it's just very important for you to know the well-being of your practitioner, okay? That's all I'm going to say with that. So that's why I'm here telling y'all about myself. Um so I became a Reiki practitioner, so I have that ability to service others. And then I'm a certified life coach, studied in those things. And then, let's see, 2020 is when I was certified in Reiki, and then that's when the worldwide societal change occurred, right? So, literally, the last day that I was in my Reiki class was the day where everything got shut down. Like, everything got shut down. And so, all of my plans of me, how I was opening my business, how I was doing certain workshops, like, in my schooling, in my time of schooling, we had certain things set up to kind of get out there in the world. And I felt like I had a wonderful idea, that I was nervously putting together a workshop for, that was put on hold because of this worldwide societal change in 2020. And so obviously everybody was changing, everybody was going through a lot. Everybody had individual and collective experiences together apart from each other. And my experience, I worked in New York City through the pandemic. Um, well, I don't want to say pandemic, but that's what everybody was calling it. Um, but it was a worldwide societal change, and I worked until things changed, according to our lawmakers, and I decided to choose myself, right? And in my choice, which I felt was very powerfully honoring myself and what I knew to be true for myself, um, in that process, I felt very alienated from everyone and everything I knew, right? And unbeknownst to me, because looking at everything from the standpoint that I look at it now, you know, everything is happening for me, not to me, right? I had to learn how to see things from the bigger scope of things. And so I feel that in a way, like a part of myself died with that worldwide um, societal change. It did. Where I kind of did not know who I was anymore, and it kind of felt like a system shutdown for me, if I could explain it. Like some people say they had near death experiences. There was nothing that physically harmed me, but I was for a moment not present, not present. And I remember sitting in my bed, and I was just flipping my Apple TV remote looking for something to watch on Netflix. And I caught myself just flicking, 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 flicking. And there was nothing that was interesting me. Like, nothing. Like, if I didn't have any relation to anything that existed outside of me, there was nothing that was sparking interest. And I remember I said in myself, I was like, Niomi, where you at, girl? Where you at? You like to sing, you like to dance. And then I start like reminding myself of like the things that I like to do. And so I got up out of the bed, and I was very weak, and I got up out of the bed and I turned on music. I wish I knew what song it was. Um, I probably just like put it on shuffle, and I started dancing. My legs were so weak. But I started dancing, and that was like the start of my rebuild. Like it was the start of my rebuild. But I still experienced a lot of fear because I really did not know where I was going in life. And then on top of that, my psychic gifts were initiated through the process of that fear. So, like when I was in my spiritual school, I had learned the fundamentals of being a human being, a spirit having a human experience, and relating to other spirits or souls having a human experience, right? So it gave me a foundation to lean on. It didn't teach me though this part. Like it didn't teach me this part, but it gave me a foundation. It did give me a foundation. So um I very much experienced a lot of fear because I've always been an optimistic person. I'm naturally optimistic. Um but I needed to be awakened to the fact that everything was not as pretty as I had been able to see it. It was a part of my awakening process to see the shadow. And I had not yet seen anyone's shadow. I feel like I've had glimpses of the shadow before that, but I would ignore it even if I felt uncomfortable by it. I just felt like it was nothing. So, okay. So, I'm getting deeper in this one. So, like, I used to smoke, I used to drink, right? And whenever I used to smoke and drink with, my people at that time, like I always felt comfortable being by myself or being like at the beach or like at the river or just being in nature. Like I felt more comfortable if I smoked being elevated in that way in nature. But when I used to interact with people, I noticed that I started seeing like it felt like people was looking at me funny, but I never would say anything because I'm just like I think I'm seeing different sides of people, but that's not how they are with me in the normal. Like I love these people, these are my peoples, but I started noticing that I started seeing people different when I used to indulge, especially in cannabis. Cannabis was the one that I would start seeing people differently. Alcohol, I feel like alcohol just made me feel uninhibited, right? And my moon sign will come out. Tropical astrology, I'm Aries sign, but it doesn't matter. Like I have fire in my chart. So I feel like my fire energy would come out when I would drink and I would feel like very, very like empowered, funny, you know what I'm saying? I'd be chilling out, you know what I'm saying? I was having a good time. Um, but these are all spirits, right? These are all spirits, and so on a spiritual journey, they do affect the way they were. I'm gonna speak from personal experience. They were affecting the way I channel. And so a part of this fear energy, I had to release those things. I won't say never, but for the most part, I don't feel like I need to do those things. Like, if I wanted to have a drink, I won't say that I'm going to tell myself I will never drink again. But I don't really care to do those things anymore because I value my well-being, and also there's a certain vision that I have for myself that I want to accomplish, that I feel like those things that inebriate me, I don't need them for that. And so um you know just so that I'm not someone that partakes in those things, and if I do, it would be extremely sparingly, you know. But weed, I don't think is something that I would do ever again. But again, I'm someone that does not like to be put in boxes. So, and when I mean a box, I just mean like labeled. So to categorize myself and saying I would never do this and I would never do that is probably not a good idea for me, because I don't do well just trying to stick in one thing, because I feel like as a part of someone who represents cosmic energy, the cosmos are ever expanding, wisdom is ever expanding with experience as a soul or essence, spirit having a human experience. So we can't really never say never, because energy is always finding a new way to express itself. There's always new stars being birthed from old ones. So you can't really say that, at least from my experience. So let me see if I could get back from my tangent, right? I was talking about weed, smoking, alcohol, Reiki, um, keeping my vessel clean, spiritual life coaching, Reiki practitioner. Okay, and then the worldwide societal change, right? So, so I released those habits, right, during this worldwide societal change and my time where I was forced to sit down. I had to learn how to sit down because I feel like I was so programmed to always be someone who's working, and being that I did not have the okay to work doing what I was doing for what I went to school for my livelihood. I was focused on my business, which at the time before this change happened for everybody, when I was in school, I had I had purchased an incorporation. It was called Wild Fruit Healing Company in 20, I believe it was 2020 that I got it. Wild Fruit Healing Company. I think it was 2020 or it might have been 2021. I don't remember. I think it was 2021, Wild Fruit Healing Company. And my intention was to, create a place where I could be of service, through my musical abilities, through my Reiki practitioner tools, and through my life coaching tools, right? And take appointments and do things like that. During this time, I also started YouTube as well and doing oracle readings. So I was just focused on my spiritual gifts being of service and being able to make a living that way, because I had seen how if I was employed by others and I chose to do something that I felt like honored me, that was not on a stable ground. It wasn't stable, you know. And I wanted to make sure that what I was creating was coming from me, and I wanted my gifts to be able to prosper. So I started a YouTube channel as well at that time. I started telling, people in my environment and my connections at that time that I was doing readings, and, starting to do that. And just channeling messages, like I go out into nature and I pay attention and I see the patterns. I'm someone who I feel I'm mostly clear cognizant and clairaudient. um, those are the strong ones. um, and I started doing YouTube because my experience at that time, like I was saying before, my spiritual gifts were triggered in the energy of fear. I was receiving fear based messages, right? So then I started seeing the shadow aspect of things, and I was no longer this, bubbly, love and light person. I was darker, I was seeing the darker aspects of life. And I was really disappointed in humanity. I'm not gonna lie. I was disappointed overall in humanity. I was hurt and I was angry and I was rageful at the things that I was seeing. And I was in this energy for a while, and I was doing messages like this. And even though I was still becoming enlightened and I was learning a lot, like one of the doctors that I became aware of that was coming on my feed, which I feel like he was like angelically, cosmically sent to me, was Dr. Delbert Blair. This dude came right on time. So while I was going through the fear, it was like he was putting me on to things that I had never seen before. Bobby Hemmett was another one, but I didn't really get too deep into Bobby Hemmett. Sister Myra, right? Is that her name? Yeah, Sister Myra. Her, but mostly Dr. Delbert Blair. That was my dude. I just was watching all his videos and I was just journaling everything journaling like crazy. I was journaling. Um, so I feel like he was one of like my angelic teachers for sure. And I feel like I was just being angelically taught. Like everything started clicking for me, everything started coming into consciousness. I was realizing for myself that nothing was coincidental. Like all information, all life was talking to me. The movies that I watched was talking to me. You know what I'm saying? The message on somebody's t-shirt was talking to me. The plane that flew by was talking to me. The birds that were growing up, you know what I'm saying, when they was little babies and they running across the sand, and now they developing and they getting their own food, it was talking to me. Like everything was talking to me, and I was like, oh my God. Like I was so receptive and open. I was just like, wow, I didn't realize this is how life really is. Life is talking to me constantly. So I became more aware of that, and I was very open at that time, and I was channeling a lot of energy at that time. And I was on YouTube, and I was trying to be of service and, put people on as to the things that I was seeing. But, the thing that I learned in my spiritual journey is that the best thing that I could do to change the world was to be my authentic self. And not everybody want to hear what I have to say, and that's fine. They are at a certain part in their journey where they want to hear what they want to hear, and they don't necessarily want to hear me. At the same time, everybody has opportunity to participate and not to participate. So that's why now on this channel, when I do readings, I do pick a cards. And even though I do 3 readings, well, they seem like 3 readings, they're 3 videos, but they're pick a cards, and they're usually joined by a similar thumbnail and angel number in the description box. When you click on that video, you subconsciously chose to participate because it's all one message. On this channel, I do pick a cards. So if you click on a video of mine, you subconsciously chose to tap into that specific video. If you want to look at the other videos that's in the entire message, you can just search it by the angel number. Most likely just looking in the description box and seeing which ones match. Because I have them hashtag, but they don't always pop up because YouTube has such a big, obviously, network of people that that exact video doesn't always pop up, but they're matched on my channel. So that's why I do pick a card readings, because I feel like people should choose to participate. So by clicking on one of my videos, you're choosing to participate, and you are responsible for what you do with the energy that you receive from me just authentically sharing as a channel for cosmic energy. And I feel like it is a part of my mission in life to share these messages. Um, but I don't, it's not my intention to saturate. Like, of course, I want to use my gifts still, to share and to prosper, because I think I am supposed to be able to do that. At the same time, though, I will be here when I feel like I'm supposed to be here. You know what I mean? So, once I realized how rageful I was becoming, And I was able to see how energy reincarnates, and I was a part of all of this the entire time. That I just, it took me back, like I literally was just like and it snapped me out of the rage, and I was just like, this is not who I am. And that's why I move differently now, because it basically showed me that, we as human beings, or however you want to call yourself, soul having a human experience, we like to point the finger outside, but like people say, we always doing this when we pointing, or there's three pointing back at you. And I just feel like I realized that even though I had experienced rage in my life personally from others, I felt like I was, a sweet person, which I still am a sweet person, you know. I just didn't realize that I was at the same time, the rage that was repressed in my DNA was being reflected to me. So it's like I could point the finger at somebody and be like, oh, this person is so angry. But I'm also looking at myself, not necessarily who I'm becoming, but there's an aspect of my DNA that resonates with that anger. Whether or not it was because my ancestors were forced to, be a certain way, or, however it was. This is just reincarnated energy. And once I realized that I could not be angry anymore. Like I could get upset. Like energy is energy. Like I have emotions. I always come back to myself, though. I always come back to myself. And so I started to come back to myself slowly but surely. Definitely a new version of myself, where I understood, and I now understand my light and shadow sides. And when was it? 2000. Like over the years, like when I was diagnosed to be pre-diabetic, I had said that I had become somebody who was participating in the keto diet. So food was always something that was important in my life. So I didn't go straight plant based, which now I'm a plant based eater. But I I went more of the meat route. So I went keto, where I was eating, and I was making sure like I was buying grass fed beef and grass fed butter, and making sure that the animals that I was eating were being better taken care of, and that they weren't being fed antibiotics that then, especially in the ketogenic diet, gets stuck in the fat, and then you eating the fat of, the pig and fatty ribeye, which ribeye used to be my favorite. And then you eating that, and you taking in all them toxins and stuff like that in your body. So I went that route because I used to love cheese and dairy and all that kind of stuff. I definitely love umami. Um, but yeah, I went that route. And then as I was in this waiting period, I guess you could call it, for myself, where I was processing this rage, and I will say this rage, I feel like this is definitely connected to me being a woman and having a womb. That, the energies of civilizations past, like Lemuria and Atlantis, that people know about if they're into cosmic energy, know that these are civilizations that were failed, and these energies are attuned to the wombs of the priestess of those times. And so, however, the women felt betrayed, however, they were being deceitful, however, people contributed to the falls of these societies as we understand it, these energies were continuously bred into the new society. So it's like we have to awaken to these things so that we are, creating freshness and newness. And so I feel like that's why you have a lot of oracle readers and tarot readers on YouTube, because these are women who are awakening to the energy of their wombs. And, we are aware of these energies. No matter if we're fully aware or not, it's like a warning signal that goes off that's trying to let people know that something's not right. And I think that's why you see it flooded. Obviously, in everything, you're going to have a little splash of things that don't belong, but for the most part, that's the whole point, is for people to understand the energy that we're giving off as human beings or electromagnetic beings, our connection to the cosmos, the energetic frequency, the electromagnetic energy of the sun, the solar flares, the coronal mass ejections, the geometric storms, the Schumann resonance, all of that, we're all interconnected with that. And so women, womb men, pick up those energies, but a lot of times they still have interference of that rage and those energies that are dark and nasty, and they get caught up in the human experience when they're supposed to be clearing that out. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. And I've gone through all of these things that at the time when I was going through them, I did not understand what the entire process was. And I want to be an inspiration for people to know that, at least from my experience, I know that at a point in time, I felt like I wasn't moving anywhere. I felt like I was staying stagnant. But if you're anything like me, then you would know that everything that you're experiencing, even if it feels like when you start something and it stops, and you start something and it stops, and you start something and it stops, you are becoming a jack of all trades and a master of one, and that is yourself. And you have to master yourself. You have to master these experiences so that you can be that person that has that message for somebody out there that's waiting for you, that's going through challenging times. So, okay, so where was I at? Because I be going out on tangents, but this is just how I channel. So, I talked about people being connected to the cosmos, YouTube, women. Where was I going with this? I don't remember. I don't remember where I was. But that part is very important. Is the energy of the womb. Is very important. If you're a channeler, the energy of the womb. Okay, so it's bringing me to another point right now. So, as of 2020, I have been someone who has been sexually inactive. So there has been no physical men in my life, okay? And I feel like a part of the intention of this channel now, this Media Mystic 999 on YouTube, 9999 four nines, Media Mystic 9999. The intention, part of this intention of this channel, is to support people in seeing the new energy that we should have always been aware of how cosmically we're connected, and how cosmically we are aligned with the right mates, courts, you know, because for so long, we would just go, and just go based off of attraction. And all attraction means, because I used to trick myself with attraction all the time. My bones is cracking. My knees are 40. So attraction, all attraction is similar reincarnated energy. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, so many people on here are old souls that you will resonate with a lot of people on your journey. You will. You'll have a lot of things in common with people. And ancestrally, you know, also known as your fractal line, your soul, your essence wants to expand. When people talk about North Node and South Node, a lot of people like try to make the South Node as something that is, that you don't need it, but it's not true. That to me is your ancestral knowledge. Is what you came here with. Is your tool bag. But that energy is supposed to be refined because that's your ancestral energy. And if you know your ancestral energy, which most of us don't, coming from a earth perspective and even a cosmic perspective, that people, they don't even think of themselves as stardust, you know what I'm saying? And how violent stardust comes from. The one of the most spectacular and violent experiences is a supernova. Um, that you don't understand how that translates into the human experience. It all comes down carbon, and then you're made into this beautiful being. You're looking all fine and sexy and stuff like that, but you come from this dynamic experience, and you're going to play that out in some way, shape, or form, right? But the thing about Earth is it's a school, so you have to master those energies now. So you come into Earth and you're formed as this like dynamic, unique being, but you're still a supernova. So I guess that brings me to the energy of what I feel like this channel right now is focusing on is supernova energy. These are beings becoming aware that they are supernovas, and becoming aware that the way that things used to be done doesn't align with them. Becoming aware of the things that pressure them into doing things that are unauthentic or inauthentic to them, that drains them, that brings about dis-ease and disease in them. Um, this is these are very powerful beings, very powerful beings. This is how this is being shown to me. You guys are, I said in my last reading, and I feel like this resonates, you guys are the caterpillar that is turning into the butterfly. Is a very, very strong metamorphosis, and it is a very tedious transformation, especially as it correlates with cosmic connections, because I feel like that's where my role comes in, to share what I see from the angle in which I see it, that there is a certain alignment that people have the opportunity or are being called to align with, so that you can align with your person. I'm just not talk so intellectual. You're supposed to be with your person. You have a person. And I feel like so many of us have been threaded to people who are not our persons, but they resonate with us because our energies have reincarnated so many times that we keep replaying the cosmic cycles, the cosmic karmic cycles over and over, and we're not learning the lessons, right? We're not refining the ancestral energies in this unique physical body. There's a certain way that you were uniquely chosen to channel the energy. And when you get clear in your own physical body and you start to connect with your body consciousness, knowing that you are electromagnetic and that all your organs have clocks and they're speaking and talking to you, then you are able to refine that energy, and then you're able to move into the north node, and then the south node isn't so dark. The North Node is a little bit more dark than the South, because the North Node you never experience. It's the expansion of your soul or your essence. I like to say essence more than soul. And it's also the connection to new stars in the cosmos, that supernova energy that brings new stars, and you are the new stars. The mates that you choose, your partner, right? Your divine, your cosmic connection, your divine counterpart. You guys are creating new stars. So um, there's different ways in which supernovas occur, and we want to create freshness and lightness and joy and transcendence and self-actualization and fun and love and laughter and expansion. We want to have amazing opportunities here. We want to know who we are fully, be our authentic selves. And so I'll definitely be talking a lot about the Earth energy budget on here, which is kind of similar to how I was just speaking about the connection between the cosmos and, our happiness and our emotions, and how we erupt and how the Earth erupts and how the sun erupts is all interconnected. So, Earth energy budget, I'll definitely mention that a lot of times, because I like to say I'm a representative for the Earth energy budget. Um, and these readings that I do that are pick a cards are for a collaborative, beautiful, innately loving collective of beings. Who this is in alignment for. Okay, so we always want people to choose to be here, and if anything feels triggering or angering, then um, come back later, breathe, and you know, sometimes the energies may be too heavy at that time. But that I feel like I said a lot about myself. I didn't really talk about my childhood, um, but maybe it's not necessary. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. If you want to know more about getting in contact with me, for I probably do a couple readings too today as well. The sun is starting to set. But if you want to get in touch with me, I have my Instagram information in the description box. Um, I didn't say my music channel officially at officially Niomi, Niomi. That's on Instagram. That links you to my music page, because I got 3 songs out, which they usually come through as channel messages too. Cosmic Love 143 Cosmic Love was my first single that I released on my 40th birthday last year. And then I had BM Black Madonna, and that's about, well, I'm not even going to talk about what that's about. And then I want to know what people think about my art before I start telling people like what I feel like it's about. And then the most current song I have is called The Weather, so you can see I be channeling messages into songs too. um so yeah, yeah. um yeah, yep. It's funny because it's like when I start pulling cards, I'm just like, yeah, I'm a very, very, very kind person. I think that um, this also might be for you guys too. So I'm gonna just relay this message. Um, yeah, so like a lot of people that's gonna resonate with me. Some people, they may feel that you're arrogant, but it's just because you're remembering, and they get to remember too. So as you remember your cosmic origins, as a healer, which people may not have saw you as a healer in the past, but you are definitely a healer, and you are a healer, most likely of things that are very challenging to heal, right? Um, so yes, so Your self esteem may be seen as arrogant. You just have the opportunity to transmute that energy, continue to remember yourself, continue to be in purpose, and allow people their experience, right? So, like, yeah. Eat good food. What else to say? Earth energy budget, ground your energy, exercise, move, um, receive your gifts, live your life, dance, let everything fall into place, and continue to be beautiful supernova. So definitely check the description box again for all my information. Follow me on Instagram at media mystic underscore, my music page on Instagram at officially Niomi, Niomi. Like, share, comment, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell and all that kind of stuff that everybody tell you, so that if you resonate with this message, then you are in alignment and you are a part of this collective of beautiful, innately loving beings that are supernovas and are ready to become the beautiful butterflies that you are, and not explode on people because you're getting pissed off because you feel like people are pressuring you to do certain things, when you have the power to shift. And just know that you're coming into your power. You're just remembering that you are the butterfly and you're not the caterpillar. All right. So peace to all you guys. I know this was a long video. I hope that you've learned enough about me to know that I take my well-being very seriously, and that I think that, you know, for me, this is just a check for me, just to know that, I heard this, the one of the Dalai Lama has said to this guy that had opened a cult, in he was shut down. It was in New York too, but he had opened a cult, and he was able to go meet the Dalai Lama. Like, that's how powerful an energy that he had created, that he met the Dalai Lama. And the Dalai Lama asked this cult leader's students, do you check your guru? And he was like, and nobody was checking him. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I guess this is like a humbling energy too, to make sure that you guys know about me, that I'm serious about my life. And that when I come on here, this is the space that I'm coming from. So when I'm sharing messages with you, know that I'm coming from a clear vessel, and that I am a clear vessel. Um, and I'm looking forward to talking more about these cosmic connections, because I'm understanding things just like you guys are understanding things as well. So, yes, I'm going to conclude the video here. It is a minute and 103. 103. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time. Peace.